Good evening. Right now, Metro Police are desperately searching for the person or people responsible for killing a man and a woman.
And I got a male down in the middle of the street.
Breaking news now, a triple shooting leaves 2 dead.
Never expect for somebody to tell you your loved one was murdered.
This Labor Day will mark 42 years that have haunted the St. Cloud family.
30 years. 30 years this family has waited for answers.
A couple months go by, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you really start to struggle with the idea that the case might not get solved and that somebody might get away with murder.
It's very unfortunate that we have any cold cases at all, and certainly unfortunate that we have as many as we do. And that's why Ryan's work and the work of Project Cold Case is so important.
Hey, good afternoon. Thanks for joining me today. I'm Ryan Backman, the founder and executive director of Project Cold Case. Every week we do a Facebook Live or a pre-recorded video if we have to. Try to answer questions, try to educate the public on cold cases, try to share cold case stories that we have been submitted to us by families that we've assisted with the media and local law enforcement. And so each week is something different. Today we're going to talk a little bit about missing persons. There's some background here that we'll get into, but technically when Project Cold Case was founded and started, missing persons were not really on the radar. Our focus was solely on unsolved murders, unsolved homicides, but we had a case submission early on in our existence, and what happened was a family reached out to Project Cold Case and said, my father had just paid his rent, had just mailed a letter off to a family member, and then nobody could reach him. When they went and did a welfare check, they found that he was missing. His vehicle was missing, his wallet was missing, his keys were missing, his phone was missing, and there was a large amount of blood in the house. Too much blood for someone of his age to survive without seeking medical treatment. And he obviously had never been found. So that missing persons case overlapped with an unsolved homicide. We decided that for our purposes, for the purposes of Project Cold Case, when missing persons cases submitted to us, if both law enforcement and the family agree that foul play is suspected, then we would add them to our database and to our site. The reason we don't just go and add every missing persons case, and there's a wide spectrum of cases where people willingly leave, where people go and do harm to themselves and haven't been recovered, where there has been abductions. There's a lot of reasons why people go missing, and we quite honestly don't have the staff and ability to handle all the unsolved homicides that we do and missing persons. And besides that, there are a number of really good resources out there for families of missing persons, whether it's the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, or NamUs, or the Q Center for Missing Persons, or the Charlie Project. I mean, there's a lot of resources out there for families of missing persons. And we didn't really feel the need to duplicate services that were already being provided and provided well. Excuse me. That being said, though, there obviously is overlap between missing persons and unsolved homicides. And where that does occur, we do participate and we do assist in any way that we can. Over the years, we've gotten to know a number of families locally that have missing persons cases. Probably the highest profile of that would be John Rowan Jr., who disappeared from Jacksonville, Florida, back in February of 2001. His family has since started a foundation, the John Rowan Jr. Foundation. They provide every year, they put on a missing adult day here in Jacksonville and City Hall. And we are invited every year and we were asked to participate this year and speak during the missing person event. And we took that as an opportunity to explain how we do get involved when it's missing persons and ways that we might be able to help. This year was the 10th annual Missing Adult Day here in Jacksonville. As you can see there, it was last Friday. It's the John Rowan Jr. Foundation, hosted by them, another local organization, the Justice Coalition. And if you see here on this side, this is the memorial marker, a granite monument that was erected here in Jacksonville, honoring missing adults, and it was commissioned by the John Rowan Jr. Foundation. So we're going to show a little video that everybody gets involved in this Missing Adult Day here locally. Law enforcement is there. The city of Jacksonville is there, the mayor, typically the sheriff and state attorney or their representatives. Excuse me. Families of missing bring pictures. They set them up on easels. They tell their story. So this was just a quick 2-minute video compiled by the city of Jacksonville while they were there shooting video and taking pictures and audio. And this will give you just a brief, it was about an, 45-minute, hour-long event, but this is just a kind of a 2-minute version of what was going on, and we'll talk a little bit more after the video about it.
You never imagine you're going to come home and not see your loved one. And we were talking before the event, and I realized today I couldn't imagine what the news cycles are like for all of you on any given day. I mean, there's hope that something may be reported that will give you an answer.
On behalf of the men and women of the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, I'd like to thank you for being here. This annual news conference provides us with a platform to discuss the missing adults in our community and remind their loved ones that our work is not done.
Each missing adult was a baby, a child, a teenager. Their husbands, wives, fathers and mothers. They deserve to be searched for. They deserve justice. Their families deserve closure.
Now, therefore, I, Lenny Curry, by virtue of the authority vested in me as mayor of Jacksonville, Florida, do hereby proclaim February 28, 2020 as Florida Missing Adults Day in Jacksonville and encourage all citizens to remember those who have not yet been found and increase public awareness to assist in finding missing loved ones.
For if tomorrow never comes, you'll surely regret the day that you didn't take that extra time for a smile, hug, or kiss, and you were too busy to grant someone what turned out to be their one last wish. So hold your loved ones close today and whisper in their ear. Tell them you'll always hold them dear. Take time to say, "I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you," or "It's okay." And if tomorrow never comes, you'll have no regrets about today. Thank you.
So that was was really happy, impressed to see the city put together that little video and show it on their Facebook page and social media. Obviously, it's a important day to a lot of families, and we kind of walk that line a little bit with how we get involved. We don't want to overstep where our services aren't necessary, but there obviously is still a need out there sometimes for us to get involved with missing persons. We work closely with NamUs, which is the National Missing and Unidentified Persons database. We try to help them out whenever we can. We try to help out law enforcement when they have missing person cases or unidentified persons. And so we do have a little niche in that arena, and we try to assist those families just like we would any of the other families that we have. One of the things that struck me, and this was the inside of the program, I don't know if you'll be able to see it well, but you can see the faces on there. it was just the range of people that are missing, the diverse group of people that are missing, and then the families that were willing to talk about the circumstances. Some of these individuals were depressed, had been suicidal either in the past or were at the time they disappeared, and the families are concerned that they went out somewhere in the woods or and harmed themselves, and the family still wants to know where they are, wants to find them and give them a proper burial. Some of these victims were known to be in a situation where foul play was the result, and those families are terrified, live in fear and constant worry, wondering what happened to their loved one, where they are, if they'll ever find them, and some of these individuals have just vanished, and nobody knows what the situation is, whether they are still alive, whether they are have been harmed, whether they were okay for a number of years and then found were injured or harmed. So we want to help in those organizations like the John Rowan Jr. Foundation and getting their message out there. Something that particularly stuck with me was here in Jacksonville, just this event was last week, and the week before, the news hit that a construction site had uncovered human remains, and the area of town where the remains were recovered gave a number of families in this area reason to believe that it may be their loved one. In fact, the John Rowan Jr.'s mother and father and family actually went to the scene of the site, of the construction site, wondering if it was John. Then it was released that there was multiple remains, multiple individuals, and so the likelihood of it being John was not very high. But then other families that had situations where they were, their loved one went missing with another individual, then they started to wonder if it was their loved one, and really kind of hard for some people to understand. And I wanted to share this was. Families were coming up and saying publicly and saying to the media and saying to me and saying to us that when they heard news that remains were uncovered, they were praying that it was their loved one, because that would give them some kind of answers. At least they would have the body and bring them home. So it was really kind of hard, I think, for people that haven't experienced a missing loved one to put yourself in a position where the next time you hear that human remains have been found, think about what it would be like to be praying that those are your loved ones' remains, so that at least you would have some answers. That's a heavy burden to bear, and one that we want to assist the families with and try to alleviate as much as we can, and at least make sure that they know that other people care, and that we're going to share their loved one's story if foul play is suspected. The one part of the ceremony every year that gets me, that chokes me up, that makes my eyes water, and I look around the room and see a lot of other people tearing up, is let's look at some pictures from the event. This was like I said, Project Cold Case was invited to participate, and so we came out, and in fact, in that video at the very end, you may have seen Clint Richardson, our marketing guy, accepting the rose for the last victim. They ask if a family member isn't available, they always ask somebody to step up and accept the rose on their behalf, and Clint would just happen to be standing closest at that time. You also saw me in the background during the presentation and ceremony as well. So we were front and center. Frida was there. One of our interns was there with us, and so we were participating in that and showing our support. That's John Rowan in that picture you see right there. his family created the foundation that puts this Missing Adult Day on every year, has for the last 10 years. So we've grown to know them very well. If I did or didn't say it, his case, foul play is suspected, and that's John's mom and dad, Peg and John Sr. And that image is John Sr. singing, and that's what I was about to say, is that every year there's the one part during the ceremony that really is touching, and it's John standing up and singing excuse me, an a cappella version of Bring Him Home. This, we recorded it. I was sitting behind him, and so I pulled out my phone real quick and recorded it. The audio does not do it justice, but City Hall in Jacksonville there's a huge atrium right in the middle of City Hall, and that's where we're set up. 4-story atrium, and to hear his voice echoing off those walls and off the glass skylight above is just really, really chilling when put with the lyrics. So what we did was we wanted to share that with you, because it's such a compelling moment to hear John sing this song about his son and others that are missing. And we took the images from our cases that have been submitted to us that are missing persons with suspected foul play, and we wanted to kind of do this tribute to those victims that have been submitted to us. So as you watch this, know that these victims are missing. Their families don't know where they are. Foul play is suspected, so each of them believes that someone harmed their loved one, but they don't know who or where. And so, as always, if you have any information on any of those cases, please reach out to your local law enforcement or local Crime Stoppers. Please share this video, tag people who have missing loved ones, and we'll see if there's any way we can help them. And I think we're going to roll right from this into our weekly remembrances. So this will be me signing off. We're going to leave you with these videos, and appreciate you watching today, and we'll be back next week with another show. Thanks a lot.
Hear my prayer in my need. You have always been there. He is young, he's afraid. Let him rest, heaven blessed. Bring him home, bring him home, bring him home. He is the son that I have known when God had granted me a son. The summers die one by one, how soon they fly on and on, and I am old and will be gone. Bring him peace, bring him joy. He is young, he is only a boy. You can take